Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video we are going to be going through Kefka's Lost Chapter, and of course we are going to be concentrating on the hardest fight, which is Vagaries of the Fractured Heart Part 13 Hard Mode. So without further ado, let's start this video. Okay, so as always, we shall take a look at the weaknesses, resistances, and the abilities of the boss, and in this case it is the Skull Wizard. It doesn't have any weaknesses and it has one resistance, and it is to the Dark Element. As for its abilities, it has the Dark Awakening, which is a Dark Brave magic attack, which also grants itself a defense up, Life Cut, which is a melee HP attack, and then when you see the Brazenly It Smirks, it will use the Candle in the Wind next turn. Now, Candle of the Wind is basically a melee HP attack after charging its own Brave based on its attack. Next up, it has Arcane Fingertips, which grants itself a max Brave up and then deal a dark melee Brave attack after increasing its Brave based on its attack, and this also has a low turn rate. Next up, it has the group Dark Claw, which is basically a group Dark Brave magic attack, and it has the Soul Sucking Scriptures, which basically is a group Brave magic attack, and it increases its Brave based on the damage dealt, and then it will grant itself a Brave regen and an HP regen. Finally, it has Darkness Falls, basically grants itself a defense up, attack up, and speed up, and basically I do believe this is a non-turn. It will automatically do it itself when you deal enough damage. Now, the Skull Wizard actually has some resistances to debuffs, and it has a low resistance to attack down and the blind debuff. Okay, so now that we know the weaknesses, resistances, and the abilities of the Skull Wizards, it's time to take a look at some general tips and guides. And for this one, the first one is to save about 70% of your abilities for the last boss. Now, usually I would say you can actually go a little bit lower, but I would suggest saving your abilities about this much, only because the boss actually has a little bit more HP than your last couple of bosses that we had in Lost Chapter and the EX version of the fight. So just save about 70% and I think you should be fine. And if you are bringing Quistis, make sure to basically save her second ability altogether for the last wave. Next up is to bring in the boosted characters. In this case, we have Kefka, Tifa, and Bartz. But if you don't have any of those characters, other characters that you may want to bring are Quistis, Vanille, Setzer. Lael can still do some damage with the chase sequence. Ramza, Paladin Cecil, of course, is a good healer slash Brave Battery. In some ways, he's not a perfectly, Brave Battery plus HP healing kind of character, but he does it well enough. Kuja, of course, is still great. We have Thancred, Agris, Vaughn, Rosa, and Ferris, Waka, Caliph, if you can believe it, because the Candle of the Wind is actually a melee attack, so his ability to dodge those melee attacks is gonna be great. And of course, you can bring Lilithset as well. Now for the healers plus Brave Battery options, you have Ram, Selphie, Maria, and of course Eiko or Kate Sith. Now you may have noticed that I actually didn't put Aerith and Yuna there anymore, because I just feel like even though I've been putting him there, they aren't really that great. They're sort of outclassed by a lot of other healers plus Brave Battery characters. Even at some point, like Paladin Cecil actually may be a better character overall to bring, because even though he doesn't heal a lot and doesn't regenerate a lot of Brave Battery, he sort of is a better overall character than the both of them, which is kind of sad to say. And then finally, 40 summon, of course, it's going to be Ifrit. You have to bring Ifrit in this fight, especially now that Ultimate Ifrit is out. And if you have farmed enough of his materials, you should level your Ifrit to 30. That way, you will get the 25% attack bonus, even though your HP is below 100%. So now it's gonna be 80% at least, and you will get his bonus. Okay, so now that we have some sort of general tips, let's go through some tips for the fight itself. The first one I have here is obviously going to be to bring Quistis or Kefka in this fight, because delay is really OP at this point in time. HP silence is also great, which is something Kefka can do, and even blind is kind of OP here as well. So if you have Waka, and of course Kefka does the blind debuff now as well, so he's like a double threat in this particular fight. Now my Kefka was not actually leveled up for this one. I did get him to level 60 crystal passive, but he only had the 35 CP weapon, not even limit broken, and I didn't even max limit break his 15 CP weapon as well. And as you guys can see, I actually will be able to get the required score, even though my Kefka is sort of just being tagging along. He actually helped quite a bit with his Trine ability. So bringing a Kefka, even though he's not as strong, just the debuff itself that he applies will save you and your characters. Next is to try and kill the bosses one at a time, of course. There should be no issues in this time, because there is no enrage mechanic that I can see or even experience. I mean, it may buff itself, but still you can just apply some debuffs and then you can push those away. Next up is obviously to use your summon wisely. If you're aiming for those chase sequences, make sure you do have a good order for your summon. This way you can maximize your damage as much as possible. Although I mean the chase sequences right now, we don't really see a lot of the chase team anymore. It's sort of getting put in the back burner now that we have delay. And finally is to debuff the boss to reduce the damage they deal, because they are quite they do hit quite hard, I should say. They can be annoying as well since they buff themselves multiple times, so having a debuff to push away all those buffs that they give themselves is gonna be essential if you really want to get the high score. Alright, so now that we have gone through some general tips and guides for the fight itself, I think it's time to take a look at some possible party compositions that you may want to try. Now obviously the first one is going to be the synergy characters, which consists of Kefka, Tifa, and Bards. I put Kuja support here, but you can obviously bring a Quistis support as well to give you a little bit of that delay. And of course for the summon you have Ifrit. The next one I have here is, as you guys can see, is Kuja, Kefka, and Quistis with a Quistis support, and of course Ifrit's summon. Basically you can time Kefka's Shrine ability before you switch in to the support Quistis. This way you know that even though they will do the brazenly it smirks, the next turn that they will have is basically a free turn, because you're basically what you're going to do is apply Trine's debuffs, switch into Quistis and delay them as much as possible. By the time they get their turn, it's still a free turn. And of course your Kefka should be back by then. And again, Ifrit for the summon here, just you know, best summon right now. Next up is Bart's, Vanille, and Eiko with a Quest to support, and of course Ifrit again for summon. This one is basically Bart's as a Brave Battery and Eiko as a Brave Battery as well, and of course Vanille is to apply the debuffs and remove the buffs. And if you have all of Bart's and Vanille's EX, it's just gonna make things a lot easier. The last one here is Kuja, Lilith, and Agrius. This is sort of like just bust through this content, and you do have Kuja as your support as well. And of course you have Ifrit for your summon. Basically the idea here is for both the Kujas to do as much AoE damage as they can, and of course Lilith will be a debuffer and Agrius will just be a Brave Battery as well. And basically, yeah, you just have to bust through the boss. Alright, so we have come to the end of this video. Of course, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on this fight. Now, obviously, it's gonna be a lot easier if you have Quistis and her EX. I was lucky enough to actually pull it on my last 5k gems, and I was ecstatic. I was in bed and my wife was sleeping next to me, and I was just like, I wanted to scream because I was like, I wasn't expecting this. So if you have Quistis EX, definitely you'll be able to roll through this fight. If you do have Kefka and you manage to get his EX, then the same thing applies. His Trine ability is just OP in this case. I mean, it both has an HP silence plus blind, and all you have to do is really pay attention and see if they are going to do the brazenly it smirks, then you know it's going to be an HP attack. Otherwise, it doesn't really have any other HP attacks apart from life cut, so you don't really have to worry too much. Pay attention to the turn order. Of course, you don't want to get broken and get pushed back, and then they will do the brazenly it smirks and you ended up getting killed. Of course, if you have Rosa here as well, you can just keep reviving yourself. I mean, I actually don't know. You can leave down in the comments below if that counts as a HP damage if you get revived. I'm not entirely sure, so leave it down in the comments below, because it never happened to me and I never gotten Rosa's EX, so I would appreciate it if someone can let me know in the comments below. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about that is unrelated to this video is about Ultimate Ifrit. I was wondering if you guys actually want me to make a video out of it. I just saw a lot of people actually clearing it already, and I felt like there was really not much of a point in making a video. So I want to ask you guys if you still want me to make a video out of that, and of course if you guys want me to make a farming sort of tips for your summon board for Ifrit. I can do it in less than 2 minutes pretty much, and I'm nearly finished with most of my characters, at least to get all the treasure chests, but I haven't really I only finished like 6 characters in the summon board. But overall, I mean, it's a very quick you know, video. I just don't know whether you guys still feel like up to it, and if you guys are, then let me know down in the comments below. Again, it's going to be Ultimate Ifrit or a fast way to farm the points. So I think I will end the video right here. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I'd like to hear from you guys. Which party compositions did you use in order to beat this lost chapter? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of points. I think it's about 170 points, and as long as you get that, you should get all the rewards. So remember to make sure to follow me on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming, and you can also add me as a friend on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming as well. All you have to do is look it up and send me a friend request, and I will surely accept them. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.